Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is Straight Out of Boston, and today I'm back for episode number 44 of my MLB The Show 16 Road to the Show series here with Jim Lowry. So today we're adding 1,000 Road to the Show points thanks to the 5,000 free stubs that MLB The Show handed out to everybody. I think that's probably a week ago by now, but I ended up taking 1,000 of those stubs and turning them into training points using the Road to the Show Game Breakers. I was actually a little bit behind on some of my attributes. I had some of them decreasing, so I was kind of, meaning to do that. And you can see here, starting to play a little bit better baseball now. We have taken control of the second wild card after winning a few games in a row here. We're going to be taking on the Cincinnati Reds, my new franchise team, if you guys have not checked out that video, coincidentally. But anyway, I just actually realized that both my Road to the Show and my, my franchise are now playing in the same division, which I usually try to avoid doing that, but you know what, it's too late now. What are you going to do? So anyway, going with Orlando Hernandez's windup here, if you guys could not tell, I thought it would be neat to only use it for one game, though I actually switched to Lance McCullers' after this game here, and I think I'm going to stick with that one for a while because I was enjoying using that over the final two gameplays in this episode. But anyway, speaking of St. Louis Cardinals ace starting pitchers, Adam Wainwright has been off to a pretty rough start so far this season. He has struggled coming back from that Achilles tear, and I'm not totally surprised. I think a lot of people expected him to bounce back and just kind of be the same old Adam Wainwright, but an Achilles tear is, really hard thing to come back from. Not a lot of athletes have come back from it, especially in year one, and look the same. I mean, just giving some recent examples, although this is a different sport, but Wesley Matthews came back this year for the Mavericks and hasn't really looked the same since, he came back. Like I said, he was playing a lot better pre-injury for Portland last year. And, Kobe Bryant as well, although a little bit older of a guy. Although Wainwright's getting up there in age now too, so I would say that, Bryant's probably relative to his sport a little bit older than Wainwright, if you know what I mean. Pitchers probably age a little bit better than, hyper-athletic shooting guards like Kobe Bryant in the NBA, but, he came back and really has never been the same since tearing his Achilles in 2013, so I'm not really too surprised by Wainwright struggling, but, in other NL Central news, the Chicago Cubs have been as good as advertised, despite losing Kyle Schwarber for the year. I think that team has enough depth that they will be able to, get by without him. And Theo Epstein, I'm sure that if they, have a pressing need for another outfielder to replace Schwarber, I'm sure he will be able to pull off a trade at the deadline. He's a very savvy GM. He is hit or miss. As a Red Sox fan who, experienced him as a GM for a number of years, I came to think that all in all he's a very good GM, but he does miss. And when he misses, he can sometimes, really swing and miss. So, I'm sure he will make a trade if he feels they need to make one and they have the farm system to do it. They can afford to, shed a top prospect or two in hopes of trying to fortify this year's team. And I'm sure that they will do that if they feel need be. But, so far the roster that has, been hyped up as one of the more talented in recent memories has really lived up to it so far. I was surprised to look at the standings the other day and see that the Astros were 5-8. I'm not sure what their record's going to be by the time I post this commentary, but Houston's honestly a team I thought, would come out and kind of pick up right where they left off last season, if not be even better. Just thinking that, they do have so much young talent on their team, I thought some of that young talent would improve. And overall, that is definitely a team that's probably going to be getting better in the future. So I just kind of figured it made sense if they would make a bit of a step forward this year. But so far, they have not done so, although the sample is still very small. And I would obviously caution anyone before rushing to judgment on a team like that. I'm sure they will turn it around, and I'm sure they will be right back in the playoff hunt before we know it. But a team that I do think actually is going to struggle throughout the remainder of the season and has gotten off to a very bad start to the season is the Minnesota Twins, a team that a lot of people have been talking about. I think they started at 0-8, I want to say, and now they're like 2-10. And the Twins, I'm not surprised at all that they are struggling this year. I thought that they were a easy regression candidate to pick out. One of the luckiest teams in baseball last year. If you guys don't know what cluster luck is, it's a really interesting statistic. I found out about it from Ed Fang, who does a lot of analytics and applies analytics to a lot of sports betting. He has a website that I read occasionally, and he actually developed a statistic called cluster luck a few years back, which looks at whether or not teams in baseball are stringing together hits and kind of, getting hits with runners in scoring position, as opposed to a team, you can get 4 doubles in a row and that'll probably score you 3 runs, but if you get 4 doubles and no hits through the rest of the game and you score 3 runs, or you get 4 doubles, spread out over 9 innings and get no runs, at the end of the day, your team is producing. Check out this play by Matt Carpenter, by the way. I was really impressed. I can't believe you got Gene Segura out here, but Anyway, it's, basically just, the idea that two teams can have the same OPS, so to say, but because one has a better cluster luck than the other, then a team will score more runs. And the Twins by far led the league in cluster luck last year. Jonah Carey actually did a few articles back when he was writing for Grantland on the Twins being one of the luckier teams in baseball last year, and their pitching just is not good enough, and I thought their offense was going to regress, even though they are going to get a full year out of Miguel Sano this year. I just don't think their offense is going to be enough unless him and Byron Buxton kind of, make steps forward and start to emerge as the two foundations of that team moving forward. Then I just don't really see this roster competing for a playoff spot. And they fell out of the race towards the end of last year, which, again, I was not surprised by, and I just really didn't think it was going to turn around at the start of this year. And so far it hasn't. Another team that's been doing very poorly, that not many teams or no one really is surprised by, is the Atlanta Braves. I think they were also 0-9 to start the year. But that's a team that's in the midst of a rebuild, and one that is going pretty well, I would think. I think John Hart's done a good job so far, rebuilding, especially that staff. They have a lot of good young arms, and I think, it's kind of some forward thinking on their part. They're thinking that, with the way young arms are going, with how much Tommy John surgery is happening these days, that it's good to just kind of accumulate as many young arms. And, think about it. If you have more arms, then those are going to be even in more demand for the other 29 clubs in baseball. So I like that strategy from the Braves. I think it's working well. But anyway, getting into the gameplay a little bit here. So we've got 2 wins so far through our first 2 starts. We've taken a hold of that first wildcard spot now, and we're back in Cincinnati here for episode gameplay number 3 here, trying to turn 2 on Votto, but I do not get over to the bag in time. So first and third with 1 out for Todd Frazier. He's going to ground this one softly. Third baseman Carpenter charges to second for 1 on to first. Not in time. They do not turn it, so it's an RBI fielder's choice. The Reds get on the board here first. It's Jay Bruce up. He goes down on the high fastball. So Lowry trying to settle in now as he is looking to pick up his 3rd straight victory of the episode. It's Scooter Gennett up at the dish. He's going to ground this one to the second baseman. Flip to second for 1 on to first. In time, a little 4-6-3 double play there. Now, same inning. It is going to be the next batter. He's going to go down on the changeup right there. So Lowry with the 2nd K of the day. Now, bottom 3 man on first for Bonifacio. He goes down on the cut fastball, up and in there. Another strikeout for Lowry. Now it's Votto at the dish here in the same inning. He is going to fly one to left, and that is going to be a diving catch from Peter Borges. Take a look at the replay. Full extension here, catching this one right as he was about to hit the ground. A very impressive grab there from the former Anaheim Angel. And now it is Todd Frazier back up at the dish. He is going to go down. Seems like I strike out Todd Frazier on sliders like pretty much every time I face him. I think I faced him, I want to say, like 5 or 6 times in the 2 games that I played against him in this episode, and I probably struck him out 4 or 5 of those times. I mean, seriously, all on the slider, too. I think he is just so susceptible to those outside breaking balls. But Jesse Winker goes down on the cutter. Now it's Gennett up. 1-2 count. He goes down to the changeup, so Lowry really starting to get the strikeout pitches working now. He has compiled 7 so far already through just 4 1/3. Now next batter, 1-2 count. He goes down to the cut fastball, strike on number 8. Bottom 6 now to lead things off. It's Billy Hamilton. He rips one back up off the middle, and that's actually going to go off of Lowry's rib cage right there. So he would go over and make the play. Down to time, Hamilton reaches first, but the trainer's going to come out, and Lowry's actually going to get pulled from this game. He was experiencing some discomfort from the rib cage area. It did not look like it was going to be too major of an injury, so hopefully we will be back in time for our next start. So we would be pulled from the game, though. 5+ innings. That runner Hamilton does come around and scores, so we get charged with 2 earned runs, but 8 strikeouts, and we do pick up our 3rd straight win number 12 in the season. So I did have one more start. It would be the season finale, and I'm actually going to simulate that game. And I'm sorry, it wouldn't be the season finale. It would be the second last game of the season, and Lowry pitched a complete game shutout, 3 hits allowed, 10 strikeouts, 1 walk. So we finished with 95 wins, good for the first wild card. We're going to be taking on the Padres or the Dodgers in the wild card game, and they're going to play a game 163 to decide who we're going to play. And it's going to actually end up being the Dodgers, so it's going to be Jim Lowry versus Clayton Kershaw. That should be quite the pitching matchup for the next episode, but until then, that is going to do it. Hope you guys enjoy. Thanks for watching, and I'm out. Peace.